and good evening. September 11, 2024, 23rd anniversary of 9/11, 2001. Tonight, we're going to be joined by just one of the bad news bears. That would be Wes Peters. 20-year gold chart, 20-year gold price chart. We'll talk about that. How do consumer prices compare in the Biden era with the Trump era 4 years ago? Core inflation comes in hotter than expected as shelter costs unexpectedly rise. BRICS confirms 159 participants will adopt the new payment system. Woo-wee. JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon warns something worse than recession remains a risk for the U.S. economy. And then consumer debt surges again as broke Americans try to make ends meet. Shocking new survey exposes reality that only 23% of independents think the economy is on the right track. The dangers of money printing, Thomas Jefferson and the financial panic of 1819. And let's see, that's it. We've already got to that one. Joining me now is Wes Peters. Hello, Wes.
Hey, good evening, Brandon. How are you?
I'm doing great. Logan, I think my studio dog, who was laying on her My Pillow pet bed, may get back on it. I don't know. Go over that pet bed and lay down, dog. Dolly, get in there and lay down. You were doing so good. I don't want to put you in the crate. Anyway, she's been getting plenty of attention today. We're trying to train the studio dog to actually lay down, not be under the desk chewing on wires and getting electrocuted. What are you after now?
As the set goes black.
Exactly right. What are you on? What do you do? Who knows? You're going to have to put her in her kennel. All right, we tried. Some days she lays down there and does great. Other days, she maybe didn't get enough exercise today.
Yeah, I wasn't home last night. I had to go out, so I had to record the debate.
Did you really? I saw you try calling me like really late last night. Dog, I was on the television for 3 hours last night, 2 hours and 45 minutes. Not to mention the other, 30-minute news and 1 hour show. So not to, complain and be the victim, but I was exhausted. So sorry, I turned off the phone and went to bed early. So you finally watched it. I have, quote, friends who called me today. What'd you think of the debate last night? To which I said, you didn't watch the coverage of my network? No. I'm like, you know what? If you'd have watched 2 hours and 45 minutes, you would have known what I thought about it. You ain't getting a free seminar.
Yeah.
So here we go. Where'd you watch it, Mr. Wes?
I watched it here at home after I got back
home. What network did you watch?
Fox. It was on Fox. I can't record your program.
Really? Logan?
Yeah.
Logan.
Can you record
He says he couldn't record the program. Yeah. All right. You get a pass. Get a pass.
So
you're one of the only friends that gets a pass, though.
Trump dropped the ball. He dropped the ball.
He could go back and watch it afterwards. How could he do that, Logan? It was on Rumble. He said you could have gone back on Rumble and rewatched our show on Rumble.
How soon after it was done, though?
How soon, Logan? Right after.
Right after? All right.
We did a separate stream for it. He said you could have watched it immediately. But I guess you didn't know. So you get a pass, unlike the other lifetime friend that called this morning saying, what'd you think of the debate? I'm like, apparently you weren't watching Worldview Tube.
You want to hear my 2 cents on what I wish Trump would have done?
I would think you got more than 2 cents worth.
When the gal chimed in to fact check him, okay, let it slide one time. But when the guy did what Trump should have done, and I thought of all this on the fly last night. It's not like I stayed awake all night thinking about this. Mm-hmm. But he should have said to himself, all right, I'll play your game.
Yeah.
And the next turn he had, he should ask Kamala, were you not the border czar? Did President Obama or President Biden not nominate you as border czar early into his campaign? And he should have rattled off all the people that have been killed from fentanyl, all the people that have been raped and murdered, an example of what's going on in Aurora. And he should have questioned her on it. And when she hemmed and hawed, he should have learned and said, well, luckily we have fact checkers here tonight. Let's ask the 2 fact checkers. Was she or was she not Biden's border czar? Border czar. And then he should have said, you say I'm the threat to democracy. Isn't it your party that had a nominee in Joe Biden that was forced out by the big donors and your party? After he had all these votes of the American people, was forced out, and then he was a king and anointed you and picked you to be the running for president for the Democrats. without a single vote. Is that true? And then again, let's check with the fact checkers and ask them that question.
He did say something similar to that. I don't want to give away what one of my friends is going to say tonight, so I'll wait. But on Brandon House Live tonight, Dr. James Thorpe is going to say what he thinks Trump should have done when they started the fact checking only on him, and you're going to love his suggestion.
But he could have pointed out all of these things about her and where she stands and referred back to the fact checkers and put them in. And he could have done it politely and professionally.
Right.
And then the big miss was that opening question to Kamala Harris. Are you better off today than you were 4 years ago?
Yes,
she never answered.
Yep.
When he was closing, he should have looked right into the camera and said, let's go back to the first question of tonight that Kamala Harris never addressed or answered because she can't, because they don't have a record to stand on. Ask yourself, look, the American people, are you better off today than you were 4 years ago? Are you paying more for your rent? Are you paying more for groceries? Are you paying more for fuel? Is your health insurance costing you more? That's the true question that you need to ask yourself. And he should have reached out again. He should have reached out to those independents and addressed them and moderate Democrats directly and asked for their vote.
Yep.
Let's turn this country around.
Because that's what it's going to come down to is the independents. We all know that most of your Republicans and Democrats, they've already made up their mind. It's going to come down to the independents, right?
Yep, absolutely.
The independents that haven't made up their mind. Some of them have. Apparently, Joe Biden made up his mind today. Did you see him throw on the MAGA hat today?
No.
You have not seen that?
No. But Brandon, I worked during the day. No.
Oh, you got a day job?
Yeah.
You got a day job? All right. It's all over. It is all over the place today. Let's see. I don't know. Which one is the best one to play, Logan? All right. Here we go. Let's play this one. There's a couple people got it from different screenshots. All right. So let's play this one. Here we go. All right. Here we go. And back it up and crank up that audio.
Hell no. You know what? No. Put it on. Come on. There's no nickel on it. Kids are doing filthy. There he is. Hey, I'll crowd you now. What? Go and roll the cat. Hey, there's good. Thank you. There's good. You cut the grass.
Well, I don't know I don't really like the idea of some guy referring to the president. Not that I'm a huge Joe Biden fan, but I do think we ought to respect the office of the presidency. But I don't like calling him an old blank that he did. But look at that. There you go. So here's the question. Donald Trump last night said that Joe Biden hates Kamala. He hates you, Kamala. Was this a sign to Kamala? Yes.
It could be.
It could be a sign.
I'm surprised Joe didn't tell the guy who wanted to take him out behind the woodshed.
Well, that was when he was a little bit younger and a little more feisty. He's I think this condition he's got's drained it out of him. I'm looking for the one with the kids, Logan. Where? Oh, on your screen, there it is. Tell me about that, Logan. You got a mic in there? Are you on? Can we? You're not. They're all wearing MAGA gear. They are. What happened to your camera and microphone, Logan? Well, let's get it. We wanted to have you more involved, particularly when Weiner's not here. But they're all wearing the MAGA gear. Biden is campaigning for Trump now.
Is the vice president debate tonight? When is that?
I don't know. When is that one, Logan? I don't know. It's not tonight. I'm sure we would have heard more about that, right?
Yeah, I would think.
Yeah. Well, Logan's going to look it up. When is the vice presidential debate? So there you go.
Opportunities, frustrating, missed opportunities last night. Not that Kamala Harris did well, but he could have really.
I think she had the answers in advance. She was too confident. She was not
the Brazil packet.
Exactly right. She was not the Kamala Harris that we have all seen. Word salad Kamala. October 1st is the VP debate, according to Mr. House in there. That's the first time I think I've ever referred to you as Mr. House, Logan. She is always a word salad. She's always a nervous, cackling wreck. I wonder if they shot her up with a little Ativan to chill her out a little bit. Or if between a little bit of Ativan and rehearsing with the actual questions, You know, a lot of people are talking about an earpiece and jewelry that looked like an earpiece. Some people are saying that could have been an earpiece. I don't know.
Who knows? You know, it's.
But you know, she had everything in advance. That you do know, right?
Oh yeah, of course she did. I mean, they were totally in the tank for. Trump should have brought up how the conservatives have such an uphill fight on every front. They have the low ground on every fight, just like in the debate. He should have pointed out, this is why people don't like the mainstream media. You guys have your foot on the scale. You're trying to change the tide here. Mm-hmm. And he should have even brought up Alexa. What's gone on lately with Alexa? Alexa, should I vote for Donald Trump? Oh, I can't comment on.
Oh, wow. Look what just came in here, thanks to one of our astute listeners. Company responds to theory that Harris wore audio earrings at debate. Quote, the resemblance is striking, end quote. To ensure a level playing field for both candidates, we are currently developing a male version and will soon be able to offer it to the Trump campaign, end quote, the company said. Following the presidential debate on Tuesday, social media users theorized that Vice President Kamala Harris wore audio earrings on stage. The German-based company that sells the earrings said on Wednesday that the resemblance between Harris's earrings and their audio earrings, quote, is striking, end quote. On Tuesday night, Harris wore what appeared to be gold and pearl earrings while debating former President Donald Trump. Social media users compared the earrings to a Nova H1 audio earrings, which are wireless earphones. Media outlets and other social media users examined the earrings, coming to the conclusion that Harris's earrings are from Tiffany & Company, not Nova products. Okay, Just the News requested comment from Icebox Sound, the Munich-based company that sells the earrings. Quote, we do not know whether Ms. Harris wore one of our products. The resemblance is striking. And while our product was not specifically developed for the use at presidential debates, it is nonetheless suited for it, end quote. That's what Malte Iverson, managing director at Icebox Sound, told Just the News on Wednesday. Quote, to ensure a level playing field for both candidates, we're currently developing a male version and will soon be able to offer it to the Trump campaign. The choice of color is a bit challenging, though, as orange does not go well with a lot of colors.
How awesome would it be if she was smart enough not to order them in someone else's name and they provided an invoice with her name? That'd be awesome.
Yeah. All right. So here, let's get to this one. How do consumers' prices compare in the Biden era with the Trump era 4 years ago? Prices are up nearly 21% since August of 2020. Wes?
Yep, absolutely, Brandon. No surprise. Everything costs more today. I've got some numbers over here. Consumer price, like you said, between 2020, 2024 are up 21%. Food and groceries are up 22.8%. Shelter prices, including rents, are up 23.4% over the last 4 years. Energy prices are up 42.4%, with fuel jumping 70.3%, adding strain on American budgets. Prices of new and used vehicles are up 19.5% and 17.9%. Gasoline prices up 52.9%. So yeah, we can just go on and on. Healthcare, price for education, air travel, you name it. Everything costs more money. So the question is, Brandon, are you better off today than you were 4 years ago?
Well, and Logan, do you remember when I told my audience about 3 years ago, if you need maybe 4 years ago, if you need a new hot water heater, buy it now. If you need a new car, buy it now. If you need a new washer and dryer, buy it now. If you need something, buy it now. I think that was probably about 2021 I started telling our audience that, because that's what we started doing. We started saying, hey, how old is our hot water heater? Probably time to replace it. Let's go ahead and do it now while A, we can get one, and B, the prices aren't going up, because they are going to go up. So we started doing things in our own home knowing this was coming. And look at that. If you would have bought a car, you would have saved almost 20%.
Yep. Use Mike Weiner's line. You heard it here first, folks. You heard it here first.
That's Mike's favorite. That's Mike's favorite line, right?
I think he's getting his pedicure. What is today? Yeah, he's getting his pedicure today.
You do know that there's days that's just him here too, right? So he's gonna get even.
It's all right. Okay.
All right. You're not worried. I can tell you're not worried. Core inflation comes in hotter than expected. Coming in hot. As shelter costs unexpectedly rise. That's the famous line of Mike Lindell we use around here all the time. Coming in hot. Remember that night he was over at the governor's GOP in Nashville, and they wouldn't let him go to the governor's mansion, Logan? He called me on the cell phone, and about 30 minutes I was supposed to go on with Brandhouse Live, and he said, they're kicking me out, and I'm coming over to your part of Tennessee. I'm coming in hot. Sure enough, he showed up that night in studio.
Is he going to be at the Ozarks or no?
No, he was there the last 3 years in a row. So
yeah. Well, that's duck hunting season, I think.
Yes, it is. Yes,
duck
it is.
season. Rabbit
normally
season.
he scheduled duck season. He normally scheduled that around duck season. You're absolutely right. Yeah. All right, so core inflation comes in hotter than expected. We've already kind of talked about that. So there you go. Let's go to another one.
And on that one, Brandon, just real quick on that one, basically what they're saying now is due to that, they don't think they'll do a 0.5% raise here shortly. They'll do the quarter.
Oh, boy. Okay. All right. Here we go. BRICS confirms 159 participants will adopt new payment system. 159. I mean, this is starting to sound more and more like Operation Sandman Dog.
Yep. Part of the de-dollarization game plan. Let's cripple the U.S. dollar, knock it out as the world's reserve currency. Again, warfare is fought much differently today than back during the first Gulf War that I was in. I think China's sending all the free fentanyl to Mexico drug lords that they want, so they can get it into the U.S. to kill as many U.S. citizens as possible. You look at all the cyber warfare that's going on, all the hacking. I think pretty much everybody in the U.S.'s Social Security number has been exposed on the dark web. Countries are lining up to join this BRICS alliance, and it's going to be financially devastating. Trump's saying if he gets in office, he'll put 100% tariff on all these countries that refuse to use the dollar. But again, I think that's going to be very difficult to do because unfortunately, we rely a lot more on these other countries for their goods and services and pharmaceuticals than they do from us.
JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon warns something worse than recession remains a risk for the U.S. economy. What's the something worse, Mr. Peters?
Good old stagflation, our friend stagflation, where the Fed would be battling not only inflation, but a jobs crisis, a slowing of the economy. And either you have a hot economy or a slow economy, and then with the inflation thrown in there as well, they start playing with those interest rates, and it just makes things even worse.
Another way, tell me if this is true. I've warned my audience for many, many years that sometimes you can have inflation in some areas and deflation in another. So it doesn't have to be consistent across the board, all inflation or all deflation. It can just be like some prices with supply and demand and limits and lack of high demand or lack of supply can cause the price to go up. Others can be the opposite. There's no interest in those, or there's a glut of it. So you have to sell it off at a dirt cheap price to get rid of it. So you could have inflation in some areas and deflation in others, can you not?
Absolutely. And I think kind of an example of that too, to some degree, is the Midwest has had what they call a bumper corn crop this year. And they're actually going to be selling at a loss because there's so much inventory. So, yeah.
Selling at a loss, which really makes you wonder, I don't know how that works, but a lot of these guys have insurance. Will some of them even bother to harvest the crop, or will they just plow it back into the ground and claim their insurance?
That could be possible. I remember back in the 80s, I grew up on a farm in Southwest Michigan, and we had a family friend that he grew cucumbers and stuff. And there were years during the 80s where the government paid him not to grow anything, so. But, yeah.
There you go. All right, next item up on the auction block tonight. Consumer debt surges again as broke Americans try to make ends meet. Tell me about that.
U.S. consumer debt reached a record $5.09 trillion, with an additional $17.8 trillion in total household debt, when including mortgages. Credit card debt grew by 9% in July, with many Americans using credit cards to cover basic needs like groceries, due to depleted savings. Average credit card APR, talk about a killer, 20.78, with some as high as 28%. About 9.1% of credit card balances have gone delinquent in the past year. Again, signaling, I don't know, I can't talk tonight. Signaling that more Americans are struggling to manage their debt. So again, people are buying groceries on credit cards, putting their electric bill on a credit card.
All right, let's go to the next one. Let's see here. Shocking new survey exposes reality that only 23% of independents think the economy is on the right track. What 23% has lost their ever living mind to think the economy is on the right track?
Yeah. I guess drug lords, drug runners, corrupt people,
people that get all of their money from the government, right? People who take government checks or government contracts, or maybe it's some of these landlords that are booting Americans and veterans out into the street so they can rent at higher prices through the government money to all the illegal immigrants. I guess they probably think the economy's humming right along. They're getting more for their rent than they normally would. And so they're kicking Americans and veterans out to take the immigrants in because the government's paying more. So I would guess they would say for them, things are better.
Immigrants, absolutely. And it's mind-boggling to me that our government can fly these illegals around the country and disperse them in all these different communities and put them up in hotels and give them cell phones and give them debit cards. Yet we have homeless veterans on the street that need need mental health care, and we're not taking care of our own. We're taking care of these people that shouldn't even be here while the American citizens suffer.
Mm-hmm. Which makes you really question what kind of properties are we talking about here? If you're an American and you own an apartment building and you have Americans in there and you have veterans in there, and you're, according to reports we're hearing, they're booting these people out and giving it to illegals. Would you rather rent to an American or a Haitian, a veteran or a Haitian? Some of these people, their hygiene is just unacceptable and that's just one area. What kind of condition must these properties be in that you don't really care about who your tenant is? You only care about the money, because anybody that has real estate, and renting, is going to want to look at the candidate because they could do damage to the property. But maybe the properties are such in bad repair that they really can't do any damage. So they're just going to go at the highest rent. Because some people would turn down a higher rent for a more stable and consistent and respectable tenant, because that guy is going to take care of the property. You may get more from the other guy, but they're going to tear it up. So in the end, it isn't going to, you're going to come out losing. Yeah. It really tells me that these properties are really, really trash heaps to start with.
Yeah. Well, and there are places around the country, Brandon, where they were consolidating schools, moving kids out of schools and using these schools for the auditorium, like a barracks style, putting in all these cots and beds and everything.
People in New York, I think, were having a fit about it because their kids couldn't go to a gymnasium, a public gymnasium, and work out and get exercise in the winter because there was all these illegal immigrants, illegal invaders laying on the floor.
And there were nice hotels in New York that were being forced to rent their empty rooms.
And the prices on those were so high. We had a guy on here telling us how much money that they were making. The government was paying such a high rate to put those illegals up there that it far outweighed maintaining it as a high-end hotel with tourists. So in other words, the profit margin was so big that they could just say, we'll take the money. The profit margin is so high, even if we have to gut the room and recarpet it, retile it, whatever you got to do, all new beds, bed mattresses, sheets, curtains, it won't matter because the profit margin's so high. But that's our money they're doing that with.
Well, and even if those rooms were $500 a night, $750 a night. Yeah, you're exactly right. Our federal government probably was paying $1,500 or $2,000 a night for each one of those rooms without blinking an eye, because guess what? It's the taxpayers' money.
Exactly.
We got to spend it. We got to spend it.
But 23% of independents think the economy is on the right track.
Yeah.
The dangers of printing money. Thomas Jefferson and the financial panic of 1819. Tell me about this real quick. I was just talking about Thomas Jefferson and Monticello a while ago to Logan.
Monticello. Thomas Jefferson. Yes, interesting read. Thomas Jefferson predicted that unchecked paper money and irresponsible banking practices would lead to an economic ruin as seen in the Panic of 1819. The first American boom-bust cycle was fueled by state-chartered banks issuing more paper money than they could back it with gold, causing a financial crisis in the early 19th century. Sounds familiar, right?
Yeah.
Historical parallel to modern times. The article draws a parallel between early U.S. financial crisis and current economic policies, particularly the Federal Reserve's creation of nearly $9 trillion and quantitative easing since 2008. He argues that inflation is a deliberate policy tool used by the government rather than accidental outcome to devalue money and to redistribute wealth. The article also talks about economic crises are inevitable when governments rely on paper money without sufficient backing, as demonstrated by repeated financial panics in history. So again, it's just talking about the history, fiat currency.
This is the way to destroy the middle class.
Yeah.
There are so many reasons that they're doing what they're doing. There's a lot of reasons they're doing. The globalists, the elitists, the power elite are doing what they're doing. But one of them is, as you're pointing out, to destroy the middle class, to take away their purchasing power and their savings. And that's what Fabian socialist John Maynard Keynes, from which we get Keynesian economics, said. By a continuous process of inflation, we can steal the majority of the people's wealth, and that one man in a million will know what we're doing. And then, of course, those people then all of a sudden say, then I'm willing to accept socialism. Uncle, wave the white flag, because I have nothing anymore. You guys took it all. You inflated it away. And a lot of Americans won't even realize. They won't even know why it is they don't have any wealth anymore. They have no savings anymore. But what they will know is, I need groceries, and they're going to accept socialism.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. It's going to be the elites in power, and the federal government, at least the left, they want everybody to rely on them. Mm-hmm. And when you have to rely on them to eat, put food on the table, to pay your electric bill or whatever, they have a lot of power over you. And that's exactly what they want. They want power, they want control, and the way to do that is to have people financially broke, financially devastated, and relying on a check from the government each month.
So, did Donald Trump really just put this out? Donald J. Trump post from his Truth Social. Okay. Turns out Kamala was wearing an earpiece, and I have the audio. I don't know what that. Can you check into that, Logan? Yeah.
They lied.
Is that real or not, Logan? I don't know if he really posted that or not. You'll look into that, but that's going out there all over the place. All right, so there you go. All right, tell us what people need to do to get the packet of information, and why should they get it from you?
Text or call my number, 602-558-8585, 602-558-8585. Text your name, address, and email. I will get you some good information so you can do some homework. We include a lot of third-party information, so it's not coming from some knucklehead just trying to get you to buy gold and silver. We have a lot of information from economists and typical Wall Street cheerleaders that are even saying it's time to buy some gold and silver. Do your homework. Give us a call. It doesn't cost you anything to talk with us. Doesn't obligate you to anything. We'll have a conversation. If it makes sense, I know we can do a great job of helping you protect some of your savings or some of your retirement funds with physical metal.
There you go.
If you decide it's not for you, we thank you for your time. So if you change your mind, give us a call.
602-558-8585. Take care, guys. Tonight on the Worldview Report, the nation's skyrocketing crime wave comes to some unlikely neighborhoods in the nation's capital. The Chinese Communist Party is infiltrating America's food supply chain and is positioning itself for nefarious actions here on the home front. So warns a former aide to Donald Trump.